already you can see some faults of this team is that you have this big long cooldown on your offlane, right? With Panda, you can maybe pick and play around that brew split. You already have ways of containing him and preventing him from using the split. You have the Tiny and the Disruptor combo. It gives you enough lockdown to use that Static Storm and blow him up before he actually manages to use his ulti. So there are some good things for both of these teams so far. Haven't really revealed way too much.
I'll give a lot of praise though to Omegalil because like their first ever game, I can't remember who was on the panel, but it was me plus someone, and we both were like, "Wow, this draft is like it's not going to work out." Like they had an Ench, Clinks, and it felt very like disconnected. But then the way that they played it was like, "Oh, so that's."
But wait, it was Ench Clinks, right? It was that.
It was the combo,
stupid
right?
interaction, yeah.
So it's like the fact that we kind of doubted them.
No, it was just Ancient Clinks.
Yeah.
It was broken for a couple of days.
Couple of days.
Okay, a week. It's still broken.
Has it changed? Have I missed a patch?
All right, we have an Oracle and an Ember Spirit.
So there's actually, in terms of HellRaisers drafting, they're still keeping up that Beastmaster. Okay, yeah.
Okay, but wait, Oracle. Are they hiding something? Are they gonna pick something crazy with the Oracle? Like, because I don't see a big reason why you picked this hero right now. Like, you just picked it as third pick. Usually, Oracle is either a combo with something or a counter in the lane to some offlaners that just can't lane versus him, and they maybe
Death Prophet?
Yeah, it's possible.
It could also just be more of a for Omegalil that. Draft concept right now is if you don't blow up this brew, he's gonna get split off. If you don't blow up a core, there will be an Oracle ult, right? So it's more you're forcing them to commit so hard, and they don't have like continued damage. It's like once they're in, they can't get back out, right? Technically Ember can.
This is very interesting as well. So now they pick the Terrorblade, right? They don't have these big buffs to the hero like we talked about in the first two series, and because of that it doesn't look like the amazing Terrorblade game. Plus you have two cores that are on big cooldowns. You have the Terrorblade that's versus Ember Spirit after all. The only good shining point of this Terror, I guess, is the fact that he's versus a Beastmaster in the laning stage, and his armor really comes in handy versus all the cores and stuff. But
very 50-50 though, because in terms of the Beast TB, like TB naturally wants to go jungle, you get more farm. If you're locked into your lane, having to protect your tower, you don't have that innate hero that can push out the lane. So TB is basically at some point in the game, he's going to decide, do I jungle for more farm, do I defend my tower, or do I lose my tower?
I'm just saying that laning stage around 8-minute mark, nothing longer than that. Like later on, yeah, that's true. He's going to have to retreat, and he just farms faster that way with sending illusions to the lane. But in the laning stage, at least that's something.
That's science.
You're going to deal with Beast until he's level 5. That's it.
So overall, are you a bit more impressed with Omegalil's draft? Because like we were talking about, right, when they first played, you were thinking it's a bit cute, might be your key word there, Tigo.
That is a key word. I think for now, I actually prefer HellRaisers because they have that skirmish ability, they've got the tower taking potential, and they can invade the jungle. If you have these two concepts against a Terrorblade, it's already a very hard game. And sure, you have the save on Oracle, but if you've already lost map control, it's not that simple to always position correctly to enable his TB.
The only problem is this Ember Spirit. You can't really send it safely, right? Like Ember plus Disruptor versus Rubik Panda. What do you think about that lane?
He has Flame Guard, right? You can eat through some of the early damage, but it's gonna be, it's not gonna be great.
And because of that, you know that he's most likely like 90% going mid. So you can pick something that will be strong against him. If you manage to shut him down, suddenly he won't be that mega threat versus the Terrorblade later on in the game. So you have ways of playing versus your counters and shutting them down before they become those real counters that you fear.
It depends what they do on HellRaisers, because they could technically with Beastmaster Tiny, they could do the Hawk play to like toss range creeps onto the hill and then put the Tiny bot into a tri-lane to then enable the safe lane Ember whilst then having like a greedier mid. That could be a way in which
tri-lane with Ember though.
Just like for the first like minute or two, right? Just to secure the XP, and then Tiny can go back top, because at that point Beastmaster's lane will be back to equal, so he'll need support. So there could be a way in which they make a quirky play to enable all lanes.
No, Omegalil, they banned out the Storm as well, so they're actually expecting the Ember to be on the safe lane, on the side lane at least.
Like Omegalil need a hero that can fight early and somewhat push out lanes, because if they're stuck into hitting creeps and playing on the back foot, it's going to be very difficult. Like they don't have very strong tower defense. They're all about kind of wrapping from behind, brew split coming in, Terrorblade just up front, and then like the fight's there. Like if they have to take a slower fight, it's gonna be
this is fine for them, right?
Yeah, that's tower defense, right?
Yeah, tower
Hard to be in
defense
front.
gives you some catch. You're a frontliner. Kunkka is, man, I just love Kunkka. Like overall, like 90% of the games. But for real, the hero is, we talk about these check marks a lot, check boxes and heroes that check a lot of these.
He saves a lot.
Yeah, he does a lot. Like Kunkka does a lot. Unless he's completely dominated in the laning stage when he feels like completely irrelevant hero. Like usually he just gets a couple of bracers and he's already very, very important to your team.
I want HellRaisers to put like a casual Viper or something really annoying. Slap it mid and then you're like, all right, cool, we can never really kill him. Because they don't actually have strong early damage from Omegalil, right? They're basically playing for Terrorblade to be like super jacked, hit the gym, 3-4 items, and then the game's pretty chill. But before then, it's a very hard game for them to do that. They have a lot of survive, but nothing really to go, okay, we're going to make our mark on this map. I think if HellRaisers pick any, like a strong matchup against a Kunkka, and a hero that can play with the Beast and the rest of that team, I think they're going to just flood this map and it's going to be so scary for Omegalil to play.
Yeah. Is Razor a hero at all anymore? Is he coming back? Yeah, this is like a phase that people have been making for 6 months. I'm just, there have been some...
all right. That is a classic.
Wait, we were talking about who? Arc?
No,
he's on the other side though, right?
Yeah. Oh, God. Kyle, is that you?
Okay, Arc Warden.
It's a classic
because
counter.
he actually played it, right? He played it.
He did. Like, Arc Warden is the classic counter to Terrorblade because at no point in the game, like, you always have, like, the bubble. Sure, Terrorblade buys the MKB, but it's a classic counter. And it is... I don't mind it, actually. There's the lack of damage from Omegalil just enables this Arc Warden to get to his items.
Okay, so the Midas has been buffed. Let's see if he's going to go for that as well. That Midas might make Arc Warden work again.
Sure.
And this looks like a really good draft from HellRaisers. It looks like a very rounded up draft with the Arc Warden. Like you said, it's a great way of dealing with the Terrorblade. But for me, always, whenever I see Arc Warden, I think, do they have any ways of jumping on top of him? Do they have any big reach? And honestly, they don't in this game. They have X marks the spot from Kunkka, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to lean HellRaisers' favor, even though I hate Arc Warden. Yeah. Like, I just have a feeling it's one of those heroes that... you make 1 or 2 mistakes, you're done. You're delaying the game for a really long time, but you make 1 or 2 mistakes and suddenly you're a non-factor.
Yeah, I think something nice about this pick, though, is the fact that if he goes for like the Midas bots build with like Maelstrom into then killing, you can always play with the Beastmaster with Hawk, right? You're just going to have that global presence, and he doesn't have to be the one finding the fights, right? Because his team will be doing it for him, and he can always join the fight. So.
It's one of the reasons why I said I really like their draft. You have the Ember Spirit, the Beastmaster. It's a very active 4 with this Arc Warden coming into play every now and then.
So you're going with HR, Liz.
Ooh. I'm going to go the other way, man.
You are?
I'm going to go the other way.
He's going to Omegalil.
I like their drafts. I like HR. I think they're a stronger team at the moment, but I just dislike this Arc Warden.
T-Gov, real quick, and do you really want to go against the Omegalil whose draft last time you didn't like, and yet they still made it work?
I'm going with HR. I think just their draft will be more enjoyable to watch if it's executed well.
Arc Warden.
Yeah, like the
more enjoyable.
Yeah, like the TPing in, the pick off,
Don't worry, we'll deal with you during the game, T-Gov. We'll deal with you during the game. It's time for us to get into that game, though. We've got 2 new commentators to take us through all the action from start to finish. KP, you're there with Trent. How are you guys doing?
Oh, yeah, we're doing pretty well. I'm really just loving the kind of difference in the assessment of the teams and who's going to win, right? Because you got T's trying to ground it in like these reasons based on the draft, the caliber of the team. And I've just got to back Liz. I love the way he's doing this. He's like, well, I hate Arc Warden. Lil's not playing at the moment, and they've been winning when Lil isn't playing. Like, who are you favoring here, Trent? I feel like I like Liz's approach.
I don't see how this guy can just guide or not or whatever. I know he looks incredible up there, but how can Lizard sit up here and spell out how much he hates Arc Warden when he's a renowned Arc Warden spammer? He might be reformed, but he was a big spammer, and now he's just trying to distance himself from this hero like he's not part of the problem.
I get where he's coming from, though, because I've talked to him on his multiple heroes that he loves before, right? Like Meepo. Whenever he sees someone else playing Meepo, he hates it because he talks about how he was #1 in the world. It was great.
Oh, okay, I see. Jealousy issue. That's what's happening here.
But then there's the other side. There's this other category of heroes where Arc Warden fits in, which is the Venomancer and the Phoenix, right? He loves playing these heroes, but the moment he's against them, he's like, oh, you know what? Ice Frog should remove this from the game. This is totally wrong.
Okay. All right.
In this situation,
as long as he recognizes his faults, it's fine.
Hey, I'm not saying he's like fully acknowledging them, but only when it's not him playing them. But in this game, you know, we've got frustration on each side, right? We've all been there with the TBs at the moment in our pub games, where he's like, guys, just give me 25, 30 minutes. I'll eventually turn up the fights. Probably win you the game, but you'll feel like you lost the game.
As long as you guys have won it for me already at that point.
We've all been there too often. But now you've got that on both sides.
I was looking forward to the Tinker with the way that HellRaisers were setting up this draft, right? Versus the Terrorblade, and they got the Vision from the Hawks and these roaming explosive heroes. But Arc Warden's kind of like Tinker light. It's like a little bit less risky in some ways, and then can also give you like physical damage too. Whereas the Tinker just kind of gets into like the pure and the magical and whatnot. So will be very interesting to watch. But I think a lot of the same similarities, right? You can still like TP to the Hawks. You can still abuse the Vision from the Hawks for the glimpses and just side picks and everything with Chew on his Tiny. And should be a pretty fun game, I think, if you're playing this Ember Spirit too. Because he's going to have a lot of like, all right, just go and create chaos around the whole map, right? Like that's mid 1 Ember is kind of his job this game.
That's true. Like when you look at this kind of game as well, when you're playing the Ember, there's not too much to be concerned about. It's primarily X that's going to catch you out. And even then, there's ways to dodge those combos, of course, with, you know, Sleight Fists, Remnants to spam out. So there is a big onus on him, and it feels like he's going to have to make a lot of plays because, you know, to say again, it's an Arc Warden. It's not really a hero known for his activity in that first 20 minutes. Well, let's see actually how the start of these lanes is going to play out, because it looks like they are going to bring Oracle to the bot lane. And Chu will actually reveal himself here. How much do we think the Tiny can get done in this game, actually? Because like we've been seeing a lot of Tiny, especially in the 4 role at the moment. Sometimes you see some teams run at 5 as well.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of a specialty. Like some teams are really into the hero, and other teams just kind of seem to ignore him, like not even taking first phase or whatever. But yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty into him. I think his laning stage is probably the roughest part because you need these, right? You got to get these toss plates, and sometimes you'll watch an entire laning stage of a Tiny where they don't make that big toss back onto a support or something, or like, you know, catch someone into a tower.
That's true. Although in this lane, right, it's pretty strong because once you have like level 2 boars, you can easily catch the Oracle out. It shouldn't be possible for him to escape. Whereas other lanes, you're kind of relying on that. I almost want to call it cheesy, where, okay, guys, if we get the creep wave close enough to our tower and my core stays away from creep, we could maybe cost someone back.
Trying to get up for the courier, but couldn't quite get there in time.
His little stumpy legs aren't quick enough. Top lane's kind of chill so far. Both sides actually getting their CS. I don't feel like this one is a lane where the Brewmaster's going to be forced out necessarily, right? Like, he should be pretty content with the state of this lane.
Yeah, that's Disruptor versus 2 heroes is just not going to have a good time, right? He's not a very good support at helping like force out someone like a Brewmaster and a Rubik. Because Rubik, relatively powerful support in the position 4 role, right? Like he has a lot of pretty good combos. Like you think Centaur or something, where as long as you can pull them in, then you can get the stomp and the follow up. And you can kind of do similar things with Brewmaster, and then you just want to use the Fade Bolt to ignite the Cinder Brew. But now he gets a little 1v1 situation here for Miposhka, thanks to that move from his Vampires. That's going to hurt a little bit here.
About the same speed as well. He has to use the salve. That's going to be a bit painful. Miposhka might be able to get vision in time for the Thunderstrike, but looks like he should get the full salve duration more or less.
He's getting that value. He's doing the quick math. He's like, yeah, this is worth. Oh, I didn't even have to mango too. He ticked right into it. That was perfect.
Still, that does mean Miposhka's more or less.
300 damage Thunderstrike right there. It's nice.
I mean, it's decent, but of course, compared to, I want to say, like last year, you know, when it was just Disruptor every game, Thunderstrike was ridiculous damage value for the mana investment. It is somewhat more balanced compared to its previous iteration.
Here we go, though. Actually getting some use out of the kinetic field in combination with the Flame Guard.
Yeah, well, Malik should be able to walk it off, but he won't in the end. Farmrack that come through with the Sleight Fist, they do get the kill, and that's your first blood.
Whose tree was that?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
I'm pretty sure Brewmaster placed that tree, right?
And then he, instead of eating it, allowed Nyx to get the regen. Do you think he was just trying to bribe him, like,
sure
bro?
That just happened.
He's like, look, just leave me, take the tree, okay, and I'll
peace offering
for my life. And, you know, war comes before peace in this situation. We'll have to see if a little slip up like that occurs again. In the mid lane so far, things are pretty chill. I don't think there's anything unexpected here, right? Like, once Kaysani has 3 points in Tidebringer, that might be when Arc Warden starts to feel the pressure a little bit.
Yeah, but then it's also Arc Warden where he can just kind of do these sort of shenanigans, right? To kind of dodge the cleave.
And then, of course, always secure the range creeps and Spark Raise. It is not exactly a lane we're going to see the Kunkka dominate, even less so nowadays, ever since they removed the ridiculous mechanic of being able to Tidebringer deny. Those were dark days.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, we can kind of get rid of all those. I'm really impressed at how well this is going for the Arc or for the Ember Spirit. I guess getting like the level 3 a little bit earlier because the way the Maposhka was playing, I think really helped because he got the second point in the Flame Guard, and that's what helped like enable that first kill. So just like that one little tipping point, I think did quite a bit for them. Like you compare like the 80 magic absorb to the 220, right? Like it's pretty absurd.
Yeah, and it's kind of a fine balance because they do, of course, have the nukes to get through the Flame Guard. But if you split up the Rubik and the Brewmaster tool, then they're not going to be able to actually get through the Flame Guard sticks. You see already, like, they'll force cast spells out of Malik, but I mean, it wouldn't do anything. Instead, they'll just chase through, and Malik looks like he should go down as the Slight Fist kills him off in the bot lane. She was able to back away after a failed attempt to kill Happy Diarara.
Yeah, we had the double goes in each lane there, so... Yeah, top lane, very bad start. Feeding 2 kills to a safe lane Ember. Like, this is a hero that loves to snowball out of the benefits of being in the mid lane. So, giving him extra experience or gold is not great.
No, and it's just going to put more pressure on probably Sunlight to be the playmaker for his team, because who else is going to be doing it here, right? You haven't got an active for like the Tiny on the other side, and you've got a TB as your POS one. It's not like they're going to be active early on. Question is, like, when you get to that point as well, where do you prioritize your pressure, right? Because the Ember seems like the obvious choice, but then you're just giving more space to Kaysani to just farm up his heart's content.
I think moving forward, Omegalil will also have to be worried about, as Lizard kind of pointed out, like the idea of like the catch that they need for the Arc Warden. It's pretty much only when they have split, right? Unless somehow Stampire gets really farmed and he gets like some extra mobility and maybe can get some really good steals where he's able to catch into the back line, but. Other than that, it's going to be a bit of a rough timing in that regard because you're going to be like hunting Kaysani when you have the split, but then you got this big cooldown on the split, and so he's going to find all this time in between, and that can obviously create situations where the game gets a little bit out of control, whereas it should be easier for HellRaisers because you would think they're going to have a vision advantage. So even if they're also trying to get the back line, it's Sunlight takes the back stab here.
Yep, things aren't looking easy for Phonic, or are they? The bow is a miss, but that was clearly all strategic because he just wants to secure the kill for Terrorblade.
Ooh, nice though, Chew.
Not less strategic from them though. Sunlight now has to walk all the way back to mid. And look at this, Kaysani not only has the catapult, he's got a DD.
Oh, good time to glyph then.
Should still get some decent chip damage though, regardless. Because he now knows that Kunkka, no bow available for about another 50 seconds. He's got to kind of do what he wants now. Actually, in the top, they're trying to force Nyx out this time.
I mean, he's level 6, so it's just...
Yeah, it's not really going to work. And instead, you can already see there's a rotation coming in. So if you hang around, you might be in trouble. I'm surprised Kaysani's coming all the way up here, in fact.
Well, I think they just did some math, too. We're like, guys, we didn't break the Flame Guard. I think we have a problem. It seems to be an issue.
Come on, anyone on the team bring a bail? No? Okay, this Ember may cause us some problems. And he is, of course, going into the drums, but we see time and time again. So it's going to give him that perfect ramp up, especially off the back having this Beastmaster in the lineup as well.
Yeah, and then the question that Lizard asked on the panel has been answered. The Midas, it's been buffed so many times, and Necro's been nerfed, and Maelstrom got killed before, too. You know, Arc Warden's kind of been through all the items in the past couple of years, trying to figure out what's the best thing to start with. So we're going to try Midas again here, son.
Just like we could low-key blame Arc Warden for everything being nerfed, even though it's not true. Like this, Malik goes down. Vampire, where are you going? Oh, you want to head back? Okay, we can help you with that. We've got this this fast, rapid teleportation system to get you back to base. Or not. He's able to move away. Koshka might not be so lucky, though. Diarara, level 6 already on the Oracle.
Yeah. Very strange stuff overall. We got a Brewmaster who's level 4, who's like feeding away. Not exactly what you're expecting. And your Oracle has managed to catch 6 there. And not even just like barely 6, 6.25. Like, that's a solid chunk of XP. He just got 279 from that.
I mean, I just had to, like, I looked up at the clock. I was like, we're not at the 10-minute mark yet. No, we're not. This genuinely is just a pretty chunky Oracle at this point.
I'm happy he's got that little gold medal up there. He's been playing some Oracle and practicing. Now that's finally someone who can deal with an Ember, right? I mean, now he's rotating the lane. He has the Fortune's End. Maybe if he gets a little bit too ahead of himself, Nyx could run into trouble. Unfortunately, we still run into a catch issue, and as long as he's careful with his remnants, he should be okay. Probably partially why he's also just chilling in the jungle too for a little bit.
Yeah, and now that Dryar is top, you can already see Vampire is told by these Oracle, bro, what lane? That's where all the XP's at, because all our TB is doing is jungling.
Yeah, they're trying to bait with the Kunkka, because they're like, or with the Rubik rather. It's like, well, why would Kunkka be here if Rubik's just trying to like soak XP, right? But if he doesn't get this, this is a bit rough. Sunlight just kind of wandering right now, and also still under vision as he starts hitting the camp. Might go for a dive, and that's probably why Vampire's also moving out.
Yeah, no, Kunkka at this point just looks like he's looking for his lost fleet. From camp to camp, he still won't find it. And the problem is, you spend so much time there, you now know it's like a sunken cost situation. As soon as you move away, Phoenix is going to push him for that tower, and he's almost got the Necronomicons as well.
Yeah, they need to figure out what they're going to do with this catapult wave, too. So, like, this tower is going to be gone fast enough that HellRaisers can probably just focus catapult efforts at a different structure. So they might be losing 2 tier 1 to the 10-minute mark.
And that's important for both sides, right? Like, that kind of pressure on the early towers. If you compare what both sides want to do, the Arc Warden wants to space his jungle, he needs time. The TB is in exactly the same boat. He doesn't want to fight too soon. He's at least getting the drums, though. So I think maybe Kellen just identifying, I'm going to need to be active somewhat. We've got these big brew splits. Our Brewmaster's not at a point where he dominates the game right now. In fact, he's at a point where he's barely in the game.
I got it. It's all about the dispels, right? You know, they're going to bait out the Flame Guard. Maxed. It's his big damage source. They got double dispel between the Fortune's End as well as the Wind Storm Panda. Maybe Nyx will get ahead of himself.
And then
maybe he'll try and root someone, and then suddenly he'll be like, dispel!
And then you just have to hope that you X him and control him before he runs away on a remnant.
Dispel and Datspell, they still can't kill Funnick.
Whoops. In fairness to them, there are 2 supports here. The problem is you now just shown your hand in the bot lane, which means they're going to move immediately to the mid. And actually in the top in the meantime, Round Split's going to come out. TB forced back for the moment. KSI needs to be careful. They are getting on top of him here. They chase him the Disruptor instead, but he has got the kinetic field down. The route is off the mark. So far, this just looks like Omegalil just showing how they know how to press all their buttons. Problem is, how well can HR press their buttons? Shu trying to move away. Avalanche trying to buy himself some time, but if buys none, in the end, he's going to go down. But now the movement comes in. After using the Fortune's End, Nyx realizes he can keep the Flame Guard up. However, they're just going to right-click into him. Then it still goes down. Trummer on the back line in the meantime, trying to snipe out the Oracle. Still has the false promise to work with. They want to try and force that out defensively and get it. That's use it on himself. Turns around trying to hit the Nyx, but Nyx is able to walk away after taking out the Rubik, and now they're going to turn around right on top of Kaysani, trying to force him away, but with 2 versions of him, it's a little bit too hard for them to find into. Kellen still doesn't have a point in Thunder. Vitara looks good though on the 2. Kaysani trying to battle move back, but it's too late. It's going to be brought down. Sunlight, he'll pursue forward. He does defonic for a moment. A little bit off the mark from Malik there, but they're able to just slowly chase this down. No tower here. Phonic could easily die, but they're a little bit hesitant on the backside. Nyx is still going, by the way. All right. He says, don't worry, guys. I'll just kind of do this all myself. I am an Ember after all.
He did an absolutely fantastic job playing out Dispel that fight. He held it the entire time while the Panda was still up. He didn't want to lose his Flame Guard, didn't pop it. And then the moment he saw him channeling Fortune's End for the first time on the Oracle, he popped the Flame Guard, just started going nuts. And then he was kind of like keeping his spacing too away from the Oracle for a lot of that as well. But it looks like in the end, it was a slight gain, but with like 345 for, and kind of XP, same deal for the side of Omegalil, as well as obviously getting that top tower down, whereas we were kind of worried about them maybe losing a tower. So I think overall, it was a pretty good exchange for them. Now they're going to smoke up again, but they have to remember there actually wasn't a static Storm Pop because he was really low on mana. So even with this fresh Sunder, they're trying to do a smoke Sunder play here, by the way. This is like the Armlet Dagon attempt.
I don't think he's going to go that far. I don't think he even maybe needs it. He'll throw it out anyway. He's definitely going to go into an early grave here. There's nobody nearby to assist. And they still have the boat to play off, right? So they can now just take the tower with the Metamorphosis. If you try and defend as HellRaisers, oh, good luck, buddy. Because someone's face is going to collide with the boat. Next, go back into the torrent. Trying to distract him, keep him away from stopping the siege right now. Does allow Kellen to get the tower. I'm not sure if you're ready to fight. Oh, X comes out in the sunlight.
Just, like throwing pebbles at each other here.
They are. But Beastmaster could rotate in. Panic is close by and Disrupt is here as well. You mentioned that he has that Static Storm. He's still holding on to it. They're just dangling Nyx because he's so goddamn tanky right now.
I mean, it's very similar for Sunlight, though. It is not an easy kill. Like, it would take Funnick, Nyx, and I would still be worried about the time it would take to get that kill with those two heroes this close to towers.
Yeah, and the ridiculous part is that he feels this tanky despite not really going for any sort of bulky boy items. You can see he's actually queuing up the Orchid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a nice game for it.
The thing is, actually, I wonder if he's going to commit to the second component, right? Because like you have alternate options now. Now that if you do see that Nyx is going for the Yules, for example, you might switch
exactly.
it up.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, we both watched Jenkins' videos. I've heard him nerd about that enough at the moment.
How was that a thing?
Yeah, like I was checking out his video. I remember he brought it up. It was because now you have options around Oblivion Dark, right? You can just switch out halfway through, change up your item choice, and all of a sudden you force someone to Yules without going to your item instead. Chew?
Big brain.
Very big brain. Chew's feeling a little bit small right now.
Yeah, at the same time, the bottom lane, though, the Nyx starts to TP, and then realizes he has to cancel it, but that'll still back them away towards the bounties. Maposhka not feeling bold enough to run for that rune. I thought maybe he'd go for it, but he gave up on that.
No, he's just trying to kind of posture, right? He's one of these birds that just kind of pushes out his feathers, tries to look big right now. I got a Static Storm. Don't go near me. I won't go near you. Kind of using it as an insurance policy.
Probably smoke up time here now, though, for Omegalil, right? He did complete the Orchid, so it'll be a very good time to try and go for something. They're actually just going to try and get the kill now. They're going to try and save that Dispel, knowing that he has the Flame Guard.
All right, he's just testing Torrent. He's going to get rooted up. He needs to be careful himself because Disrupt is nearby. They're trying to force the movement in. Stance going to come out, and that's your reveal. It doesn't actually achieve anything. In the meantime, Arc 1 still farms.
Yeah, it was a little depressing.
It's a bit anticlimactic.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, I kind of get why he doesn't go the Echo Saber, right? Like, Silver Edge doesn't feel, like, amazing in this game. You can say, I was kind of okay with Kunku for Tidebringer, but you would feel like you're kind of stunting your own growth if you had to go into the item at this stage, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be heading that way with this hero. Orchid's still good. Even if he buys Yules, it's whatever. It's still just another option. It's always gonna be relevant versus Tiny and Disruptor. Like when is Chew ever gonna get a Dispel, right? It's like so far away compared to where we are in the game right now.
Exactly. Even against Kasani, right? Like if you preemptively jump, we've seen how often Tempest doubles can just see the difference between trading and outright just getting your kills. Alec, being mildly tickled here.
You can see how hard the kill is, right? Like, the second they notice one other hero, they just start running.
However, look top. I don't know if Chew's killing or being killed. He goes in, Nyx, he's thunder off on the thing. Nyx is going to go down to Kellen here instead. Oh, no, that was so incredibly greedy. I think that's the difference, about 50 damage, maybe. Maybe the master's a little bit off for him. I mean, maybe he forgot that he's still only level 1 on the Fire Remnants. Oof. All right, Kellen's feeling pretty confident now. He might even be able to get some chip damage in on this tier 2. He did have to use the Metamorphosis after all.
Yeah, Svampire also at least getting a decent steal. I feel like he hasn't really had a good shot at much this game, but he can hold those remnants. Maybe create another initiation opportunity.
Sure. I mean, it is the go-to spell for him, right? Because usually when you're a Rubik, you're looking for one or two things. It's either a spell that lets you farm up or a spell that lets you move around in the fights. I don't think there's really anything else that you kind of prioritize here. Like, it would be nice to have a Static Storm, yeah, but still, how are you going to get in? Because you still got to get the 8 for lens before you even thinking about a Blink Dagger on Vampire.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
Relatively relaxed game here for the carry players, though. I mean, they're kind of both just doing their thing. TV a little bit more involved. Kasani tends to be less active just because you can obviously jungle a lot more, but still put on lane pressure when you're playing Arc Warden, so you don't have the same risks that you need to take. They're finally trying to make that big move here with the Orchid and even moving in towards his BKB now. On Sunlight, they want to find a nice juicy target. And again, before this Yules is done, so still another pretty good moment here. There is an Arcane Rune, though, that they'll have to watch for, and just another dispel,
boy.
right?
That's a greedy feeling. Well, they don't need the dispels. Instead, Emma who needs it to try and get out of this right now. Nick, a little bit of trouble. Tactical device in time. That's going to be Oracle going down. Not really sure what he was doing that far forward. Yes, the wraparound, but you're meant to be maybe the last one in, not long the first. Vampire able to escape just about in the meantime. There's going to be face for the Ember Spirit. Just a lockdown quick for the time being. Baseline now trying to dish out damage. Avalanche Stun is looking good, and Kellen moves forward on the start up Ember Spirit. They can't do the damage to him. Instead, it's going to be Funker going down and Kellen trying to run away. Does have the Thunder to play with. Doesn't want to hang around to use it though. There'll be a TP out that is successful from the Brewmaster, but now Kellen, he's like, if you want to tempt fate, I'm ready to rock and roll. Dude's going to move him right now. The toss is going to come out. There's no chance he'll get his ultimate off. The TV goes down. And this should be HellRaisers getting access to that tier 1 tower.
Oh, that was absolutely brutal. Was that a blink toss? I'm thinking on our dear Oracle friend.
Yep, he just jumped in immediately, just delayed him. It felt greedy from Omegalil's positioning, right? Like they were wrapping around wide. You expect that from the Kunkka, but your Oracle was the one who's meant to be staying hidden in these fights.
It's yeah, that was kind of the whole get the IO first situation. I feel like we used to see a lot of Oracle TV. Like it was as we see the mid lane. Oh, speaking of up a little bit here.
Onyx, he's got the Yules.
Oh, he
so
got
he'll
the
be
Yules
fine.
timing. Ooh. That could have been spooky.
And Puffly Phonic even hanging around long enough to get his hands on the runes. You already see Malik's like, I wish I wasn't a melee hero right now. I could just punch that stupid little pet flying out those books. You can't. Instead, now Phonic will get caught by the X. He'll somewhat be content with the money he's gained for his team. A bit upset about the money he's given to his opponent's team, though.
Oh, the comeback story of Malik, too. He's now dominating. He's turned his game around.
This is the beginning. He'll totally be... Wait a second. I'm seeing an Arc Warden building as his significant gold lead right now. But, on the other hand, Omegalil are in the pit.
Yeah, and again, you have to execute like that every fight for it to look that clean, right? Where you're blowing up Happy first. And that's one of the frustrating things about Oracle TV. And maybe, I don't know, it seems a little surprising we don't see this combo as much anymore. Just because like it used to be really common, like almost as common as Oracle and Death Prophet. Because it gives you a two-factor situation where you're like trying to burst this TV before he can Sunder. And you're buying all these control options for that and everything, and then you also have to worry about the Oracle at the same time. So it almost feels like luck sometimes, where it's just like, oh, nice, we actually caught the Oracle. Whereas some fights you just like can't find the vision on them. HellRaisers is going to be hoping that the Hawk kind of helps with that in this one.
That's a fair point. Like maybe his team's feeling that the kind of inbuilt save should be good enough. Obviously, TB's one is a bit wonky, but like another example is like when you think of Slark, you could get something like an Oracle. We do see it a lot. But if you can get your hands on maybe something a bit more aggressive, say, for example, your opponents have a disruptor in the situation, maybe you feel like you get more value there.
I think a lot of it's also just the laning stage, too, where we have stronger position 5s, and some of the position 3s have been tuned down a little bit more, where maybe it feels like the more 5s are definitely viable, right? As Malik
we've seen this
streak
before.
alive.
They have to back away, and they know it. They were trying to see if they could force the split out of him. If they did, it would have probably cost Nyx his life, though. That does buy time for Phonic in the top lane in the meantime, though. A little cheeky bit of chipping.
That's the build for Malik, right? Saving him here. He didn't go for the initiation items. He didn't go for like the blink dagger or anything. It's harder to execute the team fights, but having this hood is very good versus the side of HellRaisers. They have so much magic damage right now at this point. And it's gonna be a while until they're fully stacked on the right click as woo.
Bye. No double hit.
Clone.
I mean, you keep saying it's hard for him to, get in the fights. But in fairness to his build choice, it kind of has been HellRaisers initiating on top of him most of the game. So,
no, it's good. Yeah, he knows.
He's like, why bother going to them when they're going to keep coming to me anyway? Bounce comes out on the Nyx. He's trying to buy enough time for the team to arrive. It looks like Ember's already wise, but he doesn't run straight up the lane to escape. He goes up to the high ground. If he's not careful, though, he might pay a price. Torrent's going to be there. Root trying to move away.
Oh,
and there's an X.
Nice.
Now you see me. Will you in a second? Yule's going to come out, and they mistime the X again. Nyx is able to escape. And they find someone else, though. Remnant forward. Vampire trying to find the kill. The glimpse comes out, force him away and back. In the meantime, 2 did go deep. Kellen does activate the Metamorphosis. The boat comes through on Phonic, and the Beast Mask's going to be rolled down. The Static Storm throw down, trying to get rid of the Oracle quick enough to use the False Promise. He does not hesitate. He realizes that Kellen is no longer threatened. Instead, he must protect his own life as they wail on the forces of HellRaisers and bring down a second. I find a third in the north as well. Kaysani, that's not the double. Alex, like, I may have been out of this game for a long time, but now I am a force to be reckoned with. As they will not only kill the owner, they will kill the Tempest double as well. That, I do believe that is Roche now open for the side of Omegalil.
Yeah, I see some inventory slots open on Chew. I see a smoke and a blink. Can I get some action from my Tiny? Is he feeling brave?
No, I tell you, right, in that situation, you just take the haste, you run to the pit, you save for my team.
I think if the Beastmaster was up, he'd YOLO for it, but...
Yeah, they don't have the vision. They don't have a Courier nearby either. And that, quite the swing in favor of Omegalil there. I mean, so far, I'd say this has kind of been, drawn out fairly even. Both sides content to do what they need to. But now with that Aegis in the hands of a Terrorblade, about to finish the Skadi at this stage in the game, HellRaisers are going to be a little bit worried.
All I will say is that I feel like HellRaisers have not been hitting all of their buttons, and this game's still even. That almost looks a little worrisome at this point. Like, we haven't really had a clutch Static Storm or like a good roar to lead off these fights. It's kind of just like really chaotic. The best thing that they had, of course, was the big blow up onto the Oracle. And then even though they didn't really get that last fight and he was forced to false promise himself, the game's not like in a total disaster state. So, and I would expect them to have a larger lead, I guess is what I'm getting at, with how this has been playing out. And then even after that, you see the lead going right back towards HellRaisers again.
I mean, it's a fair point, right? Like, when I think about the way HellRaisers are playing their fight, it's almost like they've been putting bounties on Oracle game and they refuse to attack anyone else. Like that Static Storm in the last fight was kind of a perfect example. It felt like we just saw Dyrara. Drop your ult, go. And then TV going, what's up, bro? Well, this is the other one they go for. This time they bring enough forces, they'll end his 5 kill streak and kill off Malik. The question is, can you find more? You chip away at the car, and you might be able to hunt further. They're looking on the Vampire, they get rid of the Tempest double. Dyrara has been seen. This time, they should be able to get rid of this pesky Oracle, maybe not cost them too much. How this going to fly back straight away from Brewmaster. They do this to the drop in the meantime. Dyrara, asking the Force Thomas, gets out in time with Phonic again. He's not cast the spells. He's still got the Raw to work with. I think he's got, someone stuck in his throat. Might need a Strepsil. Nyx. He's trying to move away. He's still got the Eels to play with, the drums to run it off. Kellen is trying to get close enough to slow him down, but the route, they work out in favor of Nyx. He's able to actually get the stun, but now he's going to be X'd up. He needs an escape plan from this. The stunt's going to come out. The Eel's going to be there. There are no remnants to work with. And I'm not sure Kaysani can save the day. Instead, he's just going to feed a little bit more gold alongside his carry.
So the buyback from Malik too there, he doesn't instantly pop the split or anything either, and now this means that they actually have split moving forward with the Aegis, and they have meta, so this should be high ground right now. And this is the kind of lead that you're looking to get when you pick up an Aegis on TV at this point in the game.
And it's just the way that plays out, right? When Emma's trying to run away for that long, all you're doing is dragging them towards where they want to be in the first place. It's the convenience factor that allows now Omegalil to easily, I'd imagine, take the plane. They do need to be a little bit careful because Phonic does still have that crown wall rule to work with, so he didn't use it last time. And Kellen, he's getting to that point where he might just sunder one of his supports. We've all been there playing TB. You look at them, you go, well, I don't really want to give over the Aegis right now.
Oh man, this fight's so tempting though.
It is, but you can see Dyrara is doing such a good job of keeping him healed. Vampire getting a little bit low. The Roark Warden refuses to stand up. He's not even here yet. Vampire, look at it.
It's a clone every time I see it.
You know you want to go do it. And Avalanche Toss going to come in to get the TV further in, and the Thunder's going to be out into 2. He's in a lot of trouble. Kellen just walking off. Go on to the Metamorphosis for the meantime, trying to look for the big fight opportunities. Still to bring down Tiny pretty casually so far. The split was the bid from Malik, and now Nyx is going to go in. Kellen looks like he's going to pop that first life, and he still has the Metamorphosis to work with. Buyback comes out from Tiny. From Light brought down, the BKB won't protect him. Phonic hunting in, get him ready with the Primal Roar, but he gets stunned up immediately by the Brewmaster. He can try to use on Dyrara, and Dyrara instead gets the ultimate off. Keep Kellen rather nice and healthy. Primal Roar is now going to come out. The Metamorphosis was used, and the damage is going to overwhelm. TV goes down. They hold the base, and now anyone who's left on the side of Omegalil has vastly retreated to their side of the map.
I got a little bit sketchy there at the end, but They were able to kind of clean up that 10-second BKB fairly easily onto our Kunkka there. He just got worked by Arkward. It was just Mjolnir proc after Mjolnir proc, absolutely shredding through him. And so I think his BKB came out kind of like a little bit late because he wasn't expecting that giant chunk of damage. And then they kind of got put into like chaotic retreat mode. And then, of course, once the split's over, you've obviously lost a lot of the fighting prowess of your offlaner.
It's also, once again, like Phonic, you know, being a bit cheeky with these prime rolls. But in that situation, the way he's just kind of threatening it for most of that fight, waiting for the opportune moment, does work out to their advantage. It felt like the supports on the side of Omegalil couldn't get forward to assist anymore.
Yeah, well, it got scary because he got stunned up by the Brewmasters, he said, when he was going for the roar right before that false promise, and then the false promise gets off, and you're like, oh god, TV, but he's not like at that level yet. You know what I mean? He's not like MKB Daedalus where he can do that much in the single time window of a false promise, so they're still able to wait it out. But
no, he's not Optimus Prime from Transformers 2, right? He's not ready to take everyone on yet.
Yeah, it's coming.
Soon.
So they didn't even get to tier 3. I think it was getting so low in Sunlight. I think even he tried to kind of get a couple last right clicks on and still went down.
Yeah, no, I think he ran in, he hit it once, and then he's like, well, this is a bad idea.
It's a tough tower.
Tough team. HellRaisers has proven they can still fight the punch. I mean, you know, the machine gun factor of Arc 1 cannot be underrated in this game. You got the drums, you've got the Beastmaster aura. It's pretty spooky. And now instead, you're going to be the ones losing a tower. The tier 2 is just going to casually fall to creeps from the support to the side of HellRaisers.
They do have to be a little cautious, though, as they currently have no buybacks on the side of HellRaisers. Oh, sorry, not no buybacks, but okay, yeah, pretty much no buybacks. It's just Disruptor now. Even Beastmaster's bought out, so.
All right, you watch now, Trent. You've said pretty much no buybacks. Nothing relevant. There's going to be a fight. Poshka's going to buy back. 5-man Static Storm. Not just focus on the Oracle for once. Win the game.
Oh, I like this too. A gem picked up from Happy.
You know, I kind of respect this. Even, like, who they get to pick it on is the real question. Because I think it's going to be the Brewmaster, but Malik has proven he's not completely impervious to damage in, like, the last 2 fights. Yeah, it looks like it's coming up for him.
Yeah, now they're starting to kind of keep this pressure on the bottom lane. You can see, right? Like, Omegalil are focusing up on this top lane. They're trying to utilize the illusions, keep this press, and they're hoping someone shows up for this. As they're kind of lurking nearby now with this gem and blink on the Brewmaster, whereas in the bottom lane, they've been concentrating their efforts. So they're going to put the clone down to bot. They're going to start smoking up top, but not going to find anything here. They're starting to get very suspicious on the side of Omegalil. So they've actually all fully retreated. Dire scan the high ground, no one there. I mean, it's like, okay, if they think we're smoking, they're either one of 2 places, right? They're either all camping here or they're in their fountain. So
I think it's one of those situations where you've had the Arc Warden in your pub games enough. You've seen this move 100 times. Like, yep, what's that? They're distracting us bot, waiting for us to split up. Okay, let's not expose anything that's at risk here. Because, you know, also HellRaisers have a ridiculous amount of mobility outside of just smoking across the map, right? You got the Tiny, you've got the Beastmaster, the Arc Warden. It's very easy to get caught out by HellRaisers' team.
Yeah, and HellRaisers, I mean, the reason they don't have buybacks is because they're upgrading. They're not trying to hold that goal. We have the Shiva's Guard fully complete on Nyx as he now looks forward towards the Aghanim Scepter. And the BKB, it's coming for Phonic. It's not too far away now. And that's problems for a Brewmaster, right? This is one of the harder parts in the game for the hero, where the big guy, the big right clicker has the BKB on the Arc Warden, so you can't just toss him up in the air and try and create space in the team fight for your squad. So now you're helping to just, like, again, focus on this Dispel on the Ember.
What if you get in a fight with him before that? Killen has the DD goes in, Prime Roll's going to come straight away, Ember buys enough time for the moment. The Torrent, perfectly timed to ensure he will never escape, down for 75 seconds. They did use the false promise, but it might be worthwhile if they find a bonus kill on him in Poshka. Although he had already used his 6 spells.
Oh, they almost got him so close. Phonic actually spider-legging to safety on the high ground, or he almost got cycloned.
That was like, oh, no moment. In the meantime, Chu is just trying to actually force some pressure elsewhere, maybe force the side of Omegalil back. You know they're not going to go back. They've used the Metamorphosis. They want to get some damage into the base.
Yeah, they could just go bottom and finish that tower, but...
I mean, you know the Ember. Like,
yeah, but you can at least send the illusion.
That's kind of surprising, actually, because they know the Ember can't have buyback, right? They've seen his new purchase. They were hoping for the quick Roche spawn, it seems.
Yeah, that's much more valuable than the potential risks. Plus, it's always very dangerous to get into a fight situation like that versus Disruptor, right? Because you never know.
If you have to retreat.
You don't know where the Hawks are, too. Yeah. You have to retreat completely as 5 and be ready to all go back in if someone gets glimpsed.
It's also not baiting yourself, right? Like when you think of heroes like the Dragon Knight, the DP, the Terrorblade, it's very easy for you to like take that initial fight, go, oh, I've got half duration on my, transformation spell left. And then you kind of start trying to get maximum worth.
Yeah. That's a very real issue.
Yeah, it's like people Midas is like, oh, it's off cooldown, runs to a creep wave, instantly gets killed by a gank. We've all been there, folks. Some of us more often than others. Let's see what they can do now, though. I mean, no matter.
So much damage right now, dude. He's terrifying.
I mean, he is, but I mean, it's no meta for 60 seconds. So they could juke and giant if they force a fight. See some good funky plays coming out. I mean, Kaysani, he's going towards the Daedalus next as well. I doubt he's going to forsake buyback to get his hands on the Chrysalis. And Sunlight, I mean, he's just boisterously running in. Like, who's around? Kaysani, perfect target. That's the big one we want this day. Forced up away, BKB stacks. Want to break up the fight a little bit. And Sunlight activates his own BKB. TB is trying to back away. And the Torrent Storm Shell reigns supreme as they just retreat under the guise of a tidal wave. Nice X.
Nice.
Drags him back. Like, where are you taking my kill? Armor roll on the side. Oracle. Kyrari's done it again. He's 50 far forward. Nick, though, dodges out the boat. He also buys him a bit of time, but now that means you're going to get hit by the silence and the stun. They'll move into the magnetic field. That's the time bought for the meantime. Nick trying to move away, dodges out the glimpse back. We'll be able to retreat. Actually, reset for a moment, but Kaysani's clone will go down. That's
so
the
much
only
effort just for the clone.
Yeah, you're getting to that stage. This is why people hate this hero so much. It's just one of those.
3/4 duration still left on the meta, hitting for 400 damage. They have to go into the pit. They know the Aegis and Cheese is super crucial this match. They have the glimpse right now on the Rubik, so...
Final time. Kaysani, though, he steps too far forward, tries to mount dodge up. It's too late. Little indeed. He goes down, moving in. Vampire on top of Ember, going to be able to find him. A tough torrent with the Yules. Got enough time to move away. No, he hasn't. No remnants to work. It means he's going to go down. And that buyback from Arc Warden. If you don't achieve a miracle right now, you're more or less in your base, cowering as the forces of Omegalil run at it. Instead, they might just run at you. Vampire is brought down. Kaysani says, there's 2 of me, only 1 of you. What are you going to do?
As his teammates are tipping him for feeding. Yeah.
Hey, it's tactical. It's all tactical. Kaysani right now is like, okay, yeah, I bought back, but guess what? TB can no longer take the Roche. Can we, though? And right now, Kaysani's probably shaking his head going, no, we can't.
Yeah, it is so hard to take this without the meta. They just don't have the sustained right-click damage. And then now you run into a situation of the side lanes and the wave clear. Ember's down, but they still have the clone, so they can keep this bottom lane pushed down. And that's always going to give you this constant information of, are they actually coming back to the base right now as Omegalil? Are they 5? Now, fortunately, they have a Kunkka, so it's not a huge issue. Once we lost this whole Shrine situation here, things get a little bit weirder when it comes to like TPing back to Roche and like covering the side lanes, but Kunkka and Ember can they have their own solutions to that, right?
Yeah, almost definitely. I feel that's a big chunk of why we saw Beastmaster rising in popularity after they removed those, right? It's just another way of like being able to control vision game, maybe TP in later as well. It's just every little counts, right? Obviously, it used to be a lot easier to control around the Roche for one side or the other when you could capture outposts before taking out certain objectives. These days, you usually have to work for it a little bit more, but definitely having the favorable position from that angle, obviously having the closest outpost.
I see they've sent in the last remnant, one of the illusions that still has the meta going.
You can do this, TB. TB yeah. Mark 54. I don't know how many illusions is put out of this game. Probably a lot more than 54.
If I'm not mistaken, meta is kind of weird where it's like, as long as your meta is going and you summon an illusion, that illusion gets like a fresh round of meta. So if you even if you summon one, yeah, at the last second, you still get it, which is kind of cool. But, you know, all you TV players out there know that, the big strats.
And they're like, no, don't give our strategies away. There's already enough of us. We don't have more TV players. We need more CK players.
Nah, I'm good. TV's kind of cool. He's hype. He has Sunder. It's cool. He's not like super lame or anything. You know, you guys want to face every 4-second doppelganger? I would much rather fight the Sunder.
That's true.
I'll take that.
The Legend Hero is more reasonable. Primer. Oh, look who they found. Diarra. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he died in this exact location last time.
Yeah, he's actually standing on his grave. I don't know if he was dancing or what, but
He's just looking for some coins.
Very forward for not having meta right now.
Oh, they're feeling pretty bad about this. They know how important this Roshan is going to be as well, with Aegis and Cheese on the line.
They're holding the split. It's 25 seconds away. Oh man, I think they can delay this. Oh, it's gonna be tough.
I don't know if they can though. Sunlight's BKB might get forced out pretty early this rate. Split's gonna be there. And they'll just move away. So, okay, now, yeah, maybe you have the Metamorphosis, but the split is not really achieving much yet. Phonic is found, thrown up into the air by the Cyclone, and Malik just run off with his Storm Panda.
Yeah, this is not great. They needed to save the split until the meta was actually ready so they could pop it in combination with the BKB.
Oh, now the boat, BKB, Kellen. He's actually going to be able to get his hands on it. He's snatching. They do get the kill on Roshan's let HellRaisers.
Oh, the Thunder!
Aegis goes in and the Thunder comes out. Bye-bye, Tiny. See you later. This is 4 versus 5. They're making it work. And Kellen wants more in the meantime. Malik doesn't have a split to work with anymore. No mana enough, and he's just going to go down. Sunlight chasing in with a BKB. But he has to be careful. The damage is huge. Can get him low pretty far. He's going to go down. He's trying to retreat. They're just duking around and enduring Kellen completely. They'll go in now. The Primal already come out. Kellen going to be brought low. They'll get the first life, and now he's in trouble. Ember still alive in the meantime. They're calling the game. He's going to live. He moves away. His Panic Storm's going to go down, and Kellen will try 15 feet away. But there's a glimpse. Wait, and you're not going anywhere, my friend. He eats the cheese as well. But it wasn't enough of a meal to keep you off. Instead, you're still going to go to your grave. 85 seconds on the sideline. The rest of them will retreat. The damage is done, and HellRaisers can move forward.
It's like a giant, like, pincer flank maneuver of just, like, give them the Roche, give them the cheese and the Aegis, and we'll just fight them from outside the pit and kind of, like, walk them down after. They had the confidence that they have the damage, and they are definitely correct. If they can keep that spacing, it is just so easy for Kasani right now.
Most definitely. It's just a case of now, that was kind of your big pivot window. You've got so much time where your 2 cores are now removed from the map. Not only is everything going to be pushed in, the gold lead is growing exponentially for the side of HellRaisers. And
I mean, when you factor in that first Sunder, they pretty much had to kill TV 3 times.
That's true. And like that was, yeah, they were 1 man down. They were missing the Oracle, maybe one of the most critical pieces to this puzzle. But everything is fine up until that point where they decide to split up and look for clues, right? Like, they try and initiate this pincer move, the move you talk about, where one side is clearly a lot weaker than the other. I'm a raw.
Phonic
He's like, okay, you marked me? I'm your bounty? No, you go down. What's the BKB? But that opens the base. And Shui's done for a long time here. But I know it might protect him long enough. Sunlight moves going to be able to get to kill him. But BKB was used by the Kunkka. They could just reset and look to go again. TB is up in 5. Okay, they might be a little bit hesitant.
They won't have meta right away, though. So they can continue to poke here and see if anyone gets out of place here. At the same time, they have Blink Toss on the Rubik, so...
And they have Bow, they have X. It's just too risky. They know it, and they'll back away. Especially when you got to remember the most important detail is, your Arc Warden doesn't have buyback for 3.5 minutes now.
They also still somehow have this gem on Malik. Very surprised by that. I would have thought he'd lost it by now.
Yeah, usually he dies. Like, usually he's tanky enough that when he dies, he's retreated to his line, right? So he's just passing the baton. It's like, this is our holy relic. Don't let it fall into the enemy's hands. It's been working for him so far. And no one told Omegalil they would trick Roche, as they'll just hang around that pit as they smoke and move forward. But it looks like the side of HellRaisers, they're already aware they are far long and gone.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird smoke. They kind of just popped it and started going, but HellRaisers were not sticking around at all on the raiding side of the map here as we start heading in towards the finally farming these items, despite them showing up quite a few minutes ago. Currently,
It sounds such a good time, You just kind of forget about something. Oh, yeah, those would be good, wouldn't they? So far, 2 pretty good ones outside HellRaisers as well. They get the Wither Shaco and the Timeless Relic.
Yeah, they got the TV cape.
Ooh, okay. Both sides basically getting whatever they want so far.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Right now, if you are HellRaisers, are you kind of praying they don't get a Timeless Relic for this Rubik, actually? Because if they do, and he gets Primal Roar, someone is going to be nap time for a long time.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Why is Brewmaster still rocking the Van Brace? Malik knows it's only one thing that matters, man. I just gotta live. It's like, can I get something better? Anything bigger?
He's like, with the Shaco guys, maybe? I don't need mana, it's fine. Just keep enough for split and you're good. think he would just have enough for split if he had it with a Shaco, actually. Yeah.
You could also cast one Cinder Brew.
Damn, or 2 Drunken Brawlers.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the important thing. Right. On Fantasy, he's just going towards the "Ugh, I like to click things" type build. I mean, tanky as well, because he's going for the AC next.
Yeah, just pop up all your auras. Brewmaster's kind of in a weird spot ever since they messed around with the Drunken Brawler thing, where like, because the crit build was getting like too good. Wow, they actually got it. Yeah,
right,
I actually agree. I think Happy takes it for sure.
Yeah, it should be.
That is crazy. We have a 3,000 HP Oracle now. Okay, this item is so stupid.
It is. I'm surprised that they haven't got it on the Disruptor on the other side. But of course, cast range is too tempting.
Think if he has his Glimmer going, then they have to burst him for like 6,000 damage. Because it's like mostly magical that they're getting with. I guess if it's the Beastmaster again, it's not quite as bad, but still.
It's pretty rough. It's not as if you have a Spirit Vessel situation with your team or you ever want to build one. It's definitely one of the more tasty items you see come out. It just turns a support that's usually like vulnerable. Like usually when we look at something like Omegalil's lineup, we often talk about the fact that both of their supports are incredibly vulnerable with fights. It just removes that factor completely. So far, though, I mean, this is some serious hate for the Tempest doubles. It just feels like Omegalil are just patrolling the map together to get rid of the illusions and doubles that come out of Kesani.
It's also because they don't really have a choice. Like, it can definitely solo pick. Well, maybe not the Oracle now, especially with the Glimmer, I guess. But
it'll be close.
It's got the power, you know, to just like bring down Vampire, for example. So he can't really do much else. As you keep the magnetic bubble, just maybe save himself. It's been a very interesting game because I think for the most part it's relatively like even the way they had to play things out in the mid game. A lot of it's just come down to like who's played the team fights better. They're just kind of different lineups. Whereas I feel like a lot of this tournament has come down to like, okay, this lineup looks like it's gonna be way better at this point in the game, and there's gonna be nothing they can do. But a lot of this game was like kind of even, just by the way the drafts work out, and I just feel like HellRaisers have just been consistently outplaying them ever since the start. The start was kind of like all Omegalil. But ever since the Arc Wardens got farmed, they've done a very good job of just like spacing these team fights to make it very easy for Kesani to just right-click the whole time.
That's true. It was Omegalil, now it's Omegalol. And that's exactly what Kellen thinks of these supports. He chases in on him with Poshka, trying to bring him down. We'll be able to get the kill. Gives enough time for Chu to get away at least. But now they might initiate again on time. They didn't find him. I mean, he was sort of away, and then he decided to get stuck on a tree. Or rather try and pick up a tree. But still only your supports. Credit where credit is due. Metamorphosis has been used. If they do not get more out of this, HellRaisers are probably content.
I've heard a lot of discussion about this Abyssal TV, because I think there was one last game, or at least last series too, and I know it's been more and more popular in pubs now too, instead of the Satanic, and kind of feels like this might end up being one of those games if they can't keep that catch going. I mean, they got the catch here. I would not have expected them to get so many of those pickoffs, but we'll see if they like moving high ground. It's gonna be so hard to grab Kasani and this Ember still.
It is. I think that's maybe the other thing to do with like the Abyssals is ever since they allow you to now just spontaneously jump on top of people, it feels like a kind of a replacement for Blink in TB's arsenal, because it used to be that you desperately needed that item to even be in the fight.
Oh, here we go. They're baiting with the clone down bottom. Who's coming? Classic X.
Well, there's all one.
Oh, he's not X'd actually.
No, he's staying here, and that means the Ember's going to just walk away like, okay. They're not making any aggressive plays if Kunker's back in the base. They're not really killing the Tempest double anytime soon either. They keep the racks alive for the time being. Problem is, if he does that again, it's probably going to go down.
Good time to smoke right now for Omegalil because they've stolen the Hawk as well. It might catch them off guard. I don't think they have a gem on the Dire yet.
No, they lost their gem in the last fight. Rubik picked it up. In fact, he's still holding on to it. So they're running around with 2 gems on the side of Omegalil. Just trying to pressure Kellen a little bit. Limps him back and then to field it in. There's too many heroes here for them to try and chip away. They need to be careful.
Chu's trying to find that angle again, though. But look where Happy is. He's on the complete opposite side. It's like, team, please.
I've learned my lessons,
don't let
guys.
them get me again.
In fairness, he's kind of been responsible for his own fate on one or two of these. But they're definitely advising that he stays further back. All right, no kind of protect the president logic coming out here. He's the president.
Nice, that smoke. They still have the Hawk. Start
well.
sending them out.
I mean, look at this, Trent. The quicker they could get their hands on a Tempest double. Oh, they're not quick enough.
That Hawk did go over a sentry.
Whoops.
They
Well,
don't
there's
know,
Miposhka. Moving in. Let's gonna come out. Chance as well. Goodbye. Roche is up, so they'll move across right now. They ping it. They know that they need to capture that outpost, or they might be in a little bit of a risk of a counter initiation here.
I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but who are they giving this Agnes to?
Ooh.
Can I get a terror wave?
TB, yeah, come on. I mean, no, he hasn't got the blink dagger. Gets the blink dagger, then you do it. He's got plenty of money. He can make a choice whenever he wants.
Jumping in.
Oh,
Sonic.
Sunlight can get away. BKB. Keller just chasing on a case Sun. He's own BKB trying to protect him, but it's not going to be good enough. This TB hits too hard. They're going to bring down the Arc Ward. On the other side of the fight, it's still commencing. Sunlight's BKB is protected for the time being. The focus is not up on the Nick to move away. They force out the false promise, but Happy Daggerara is not going to die. Instead, Nick, what are you doing? This is not the place to be. Gets caught out, forces the buyback out of the Arc Ward, and they're going to chase forward on the Phonic as well. He did use the Primal Roar this fight, but it doesn't really achieve much. Instead, there's still 2 heroes down, even with the buyback coming out of the Arc Ward, and that's going to be Roche in the hands of Omegalil, and us sitting here contemplating who's going to get the Ags and if it's going to be Chu.
Exactly. That's the real question. Can Chu do it?
Here comes Titan. No. Oh, no. What? Oh,
that Aegis was still down. And now he goes in. Oh, buddy, no.
Pathfinding.
Oh. He was like, oh, I'm too late. And then he looks, oh, it's still in there.
Is that the moment where, like, we've had that in our games, right? You just quickly, you don't even let anyone say anything. You mute everyone before it starts coming out.
This is sick. He just bought Refresher. We're game ending right now. Bought the Refresher, took the Aegis, or sorry, the Aghanims. So now he's ready for his next Terror Wave. And he hid the Refresher too. So I don't think there was Dire Vision. So they don't actually know that TB has meta right now.
No, and he's going to delete the base pretty quickly because, of course, he's always had that leveler switching in and out.
Moon Shard too. My God, how much gold did this guy have? Did someone else?
He had like 7,000 gold. He had some small dollar in his pocket.
Bro, Kasani, I mean, that's exactly what we've been talking about, has not been having this whole game. Is Kasani's just not been getting caught like that. And you see how quickly this lineup just completely falls apart. They don't have a Brewmaster or a Kunkka. Like, their best, like, get in there hero is pretty much Ember, right? Or maybe if Chu can blow someone up, but that it gets weaker and weaker as the game progresses, and someone like Brewmaster and his ulti is just so good at creating that space for you, and they just could not protect Kasani with the positioning he was in there.
This is true, but hear me out. This is what the Arc Warden player's logic is right now. Haha, we got bot lane. They couldn't get in our base. It is still working so far.
Radiant are scanning.
Yeah, they kind of needed them to do like a bad fight there. How many times left on this Refresher?
I mean, and it is very hard to actually breach that base as well, right? Like, you've got to worry about Miposhka. You've got, you know, the vision game is always going to be in favor of HellRaisers. And then, of course, the Arc Warden, these choke points are ridiculous. I mean, it really just does come down to the fact, is Kellen going to queue up a mobility item next? We already had this discussion. Like, you could go for Rapier or go just hit things, don't care about anyone, is the other approach that I'm pretty sure I learned my first week of Dota. I guess if you feel like your team is going to deliver you the kills still, it's fine. And in fairness, Sunlight can just casually run in and use the Torrent Storm. We've seen it previously. It's pretty effective. Kellen is swirling away at the building right now, and then feels going to come up, buy some time. Kellen then realizes how this chance works, moves inside the bubble, almost dies for it. The Sun is going to come out on the Tempest double. Chu control for the time being, forced up to get him away. The double is down. Beastmaster is nowhere to be seen. He is in the river right now, finally TPing back to base. He does arrive. Brewmaster can't get the split out just yet, and he's in a lot of trouble right now. They can't protect him. He's going to go down. Mal is gone. Eyes back straight away. Nyx moves forward. The BKB still active. Root comes down to Oracle, but he's so stupidly tanky. And with the A on distance ball, there's no way to bring him down. Nyx moves back into the base. On the side, though, they do see Phonic. I don't know. I mean, he wasn't there for the start of the fight, and he won't be there for the end of it. He is dead. Going for 100 seconds.
He's got buyback. He to get back.
He doesn't want to do it just yet. He's going to come out. Dude, just get knocked down, though. Ghost Tester doesn't protect him. This tiny double just trying to do what it can, but Miss Chance ain't going to work in your favor here, my friend. Ellen hits too hard, burns it out, takes down the racks. Now it's the case of, do you go for more? You could go for bot. I don't want this running out soon, though.
Is Courier coming? Yeah, it's coming. It's got the Refresher on it.
Faster, Servant. There we go. There
now
it is.
you go for the
Now I'm
game,
ready
man.
to end the game. He's got the Terror Wave as well. He's going to move straight in. Gets tiny, pulls up away. BKB back comes out for 2 in the meantime. Both through, so Kellen doesn't feel too squishy, but he's definitely still feeling squishy. He needs to heal up right now. This target's not staying close enough. Instead, needs to go deep. He separates the back line. On the other side, though, they're going to stay on top of Mark Gordon. Wimmercape's trying to protect him. Now they turn around and Sonic instead trying to bring him down. Going to get him low and kill him off alongside the Arc Warden. Both dead for 125 seconds and no way back in this game. This should be the end. Omegalil look like they're ready to close out game 1, and there's nobody who can stop them. Time just still screwing around the the back line. They finally bring down the RR. It took long enough. There's force to buy back. Nick on half HP is killing, chases in, uses the thunder, brings him low, should be able to kill him off and then kill the throne. Game 1, and Omegalil, they should be taking this.
All right, Kellen, aka Arc. You guys know this guy. You know how sometimes you watch a game and it looks so easy about like what are the correct items to do, but you really can't fault a player for not doing it in the moment because Dota games are like so insanely hectic. This looked like